Good morning, and welcome to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter. I'm glad you've made the connection with us today. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and the goal of our show is to explore a wide range of topics that challenge us to see ourselves, our community, and the world around us in ways that get us thinking, get us connected, and perhaps inspired or challenged to do just a bit more because we've made the connection. Today, we're going to be having a conversation about a documentary that explores the history of Tonka Toys. Joining me is David Howell, who is a local filmmaker and storyteller. Welcome, David. We're glad you're here.
Thank you so much, Laurie. It's so nice to meet you.
Oh, it's nice to have you. And I have to tell you, my brother was crazy about Tonka Toys. He was the youngest of my mom's cousins, and they were all living in Mound. So when he was born, everybody sent their Tonka Toys to our house. And we were living out in California, and we had like almost a room full of Tonka Toys that he absolutely adored. But he did not forgive my mother that she gave them all away.
Some people, that's their version of heaven, is
Yes.
a room full of Tonka Toys.
Yes,
and
yes.
I've been in those places.
I bet you have. I bet you have. So you didn't start with going to yourself, I'd like to do a documentary on Tonka Toys.
No, I've been in the Minneapolis film community now for about 30 years, mostly in commercial production. And I've done side projects, many different side projects, because I get to be as creative as I want to, and I don't have a client that way. And I'm also a bit getting into songwriting and like storytelling. And about 5 years ago, my partner Patrick Bentz, I'd worked with him in production, and he was like, I want to do a long form project, and I'm like, okay, you want to do a documentary? Couple things.
Just to keep in mind.
we need to find a really good story.
Yeah.
Because it's also going to take a very long time, and we probably won't make any money doing it. So let's find something we both love, and then we'll move forward. And we threw ideas around for about a year, and nothing really stuck. There wasn't universal message in any of these ideas.
It didn't move your heart.
Exactly. Enough.
Okay.
Enough. And about a year later, we went to the West Tonka Historical Society. My brother lives out in Mound, and my mother needed something to do on Saturday between 10 and 2. That's the only times they're open. And it was cool, but I went upstairs, and there were 2 rooms dedicated to the Tonka Company. And my whole childhood came back to me. I looked in the case, and I had that one. My brother had that
truck,
one. Dave Carpenter had that one. Literally, I was back in the sandbox. And this guy in the corner, his name's Ron Pauly. He was there every Saturday between 10 and 2, telling his story, I think for like 20 years or something.
What dedication?
What?
What dedication?
Oh, absolutely. And he told me his story. And in 20 minutes, I knew I had the story I wanted to tell. And basically, the first thing he did was he pulled out a toy truck that his father gave him when he was like 8 years old. And, I think he's in his 80s or 90s now, So this is something he loved. And he said, see this truck? When I was 8 years old, this was the only toy I got all year round because it was really expensive, but it was really well built. And he said, when I grew up, the Tonka Company was down the road, and I loved this thing. And he showed me how he altered the trucks that he had when he was young, like when he was 12 years old. He's like
some people do with their cars.
Exactly.
He did it with his Tonka.
With his Tonka trucks. And he's like, I wanted to work for the Tonka Company.
When I was a kid, when we would drive by the Tonka toy factory, they literally had trucks in the windows. Mm-hmm. So as you go by the small windows, you could see all the little, fantasy trucks that you would want for Christmas and that was part of the heart and soul of both the Tonka Toy Factory, but also Mound. It became a heart to Mound.
Absolutely. And I didn't realize all this. I mean, I'd played with Tonka trucks, but I'd only been in the area for 30 years, and I'd never known this history.
Yeah, it's Tonka.
Exactly.
Like, it's amazing how many people. No, but
They don't.
They don't know, and the end of Lake Minnetonka, where the old factory was kind of considered more blue collar, and people don't think of Lake Minnetonka ever having a blue collar.
Absolutely. That was another thing we found out. So Ron told me his story, and he said he wanted to design trucks. He wanted to design trucks that were affordable and that would last. Because when he was young, he only got one truck.
But what he did with that one truck all year round, all the different stories that you can make up with that truck and what you do. I mean, even my nephews, when I was playing with them as children, loved to create with Sandbox all the different stories with the trucks that they had.
And so he grew up, he went to Dunwoody and learned to work with metal, and he got hired at the Tonka Company.
I bet that was a dream come true.
It was, but they put him on barbecue grills first because they were making barbecue grills at the time.
Sure.
And this is his first job, and he's like, "No, I want to make trucks because that's what he loved." And like, who does that for the first job? That's the passion he had for making trucks. And so they're like, "Okay." And so
they let him.
Yeah.
That's wild.
He's a very strong individual, and he knows what he wants. And so he designed the trucks that I played with. And he made them strong, and he made them last, and he made them affordable. And they went around the world making kids happy. And so he also went into how kids these days come into his museum and they look around at the pretty colors and they go right back onto their devices. And he's like, kids these days are not using their imaginations.
They're not engaging.
These trucks made you use your imagination. You would imagine a whole city in your sandbox. And he's like, also these kids, they're pale, they're sickly, they're allergic to everything. They're not getting outside and getting that fresh air, the sunshine. They're not getting in the dirt that keeps you healthy. It gets those microbes in the dirt, keep you healthy. And I'm like, absolutely. And he's like, and then you get in the sandbox and you have to socialize. And these also help you socialize. And again, our kids today are not as socialized as we were as a kid. And I'm like, right on, man. And so I was just really blown away by his story. And basically, when the Tonka Company, the original Tonka Company got sold, the new people came in and they pointed to him and they said, "You are screwing up." And he's like, "What?" And they're like, "You're making these toys last too long." And he used the term planned obsolescence. And I believe he's going to take that to his grave as the worst thing that ever happened to him. And I just thought to myself, here is just a regular guy you'd meet on the street, and you'd have no idea that what he did touched millions of kids around the world. And I just talked to people that I'm almost 60, and people 10 years older or 10 years younger were right in that sweet spot of Tonka. Everybody I've talked to knows Tonka and played with them. And so it was just an obvious story to me. As we went down the path of finding these threads of stories, we learned about how Tonka was so important to the city of Mound. There would be farmers' wives that would drive in from outside, and they'd have a place to work and make extra money for the family. Multiple generations of people worked at the Tonka Company.
It sounds like there's some surprises for you.
Oh my gosh, were there surprises? And we're still finding surprises out. But if anybody has a relative that worked there, we'd love to hear from you because we just keep hearing these stories. One thing I didn't know is that if you had a Tonka truck and it broke, you could bring it back to the factory.
Oh, yeah.
And they would fix it and they'd repaint it and they'd give it back to you for not charge you a thing. You tell me any other place that will do that.
It was also a heartbreak when the new owners took it down to Texas. It was like part of your heart was just leaving.
Yep.
Something that you grew up having this be part of your town and part of your, your fiber, your moral fiber.
Yep.
Having that kind of dignity of, if you bought this and there is a problem, we will fix it. And that sort of like a moral obligation for children to be able to know that they could trust the toy that they had bought.
And, when you do a film, you have to do a log line for a film, which is one sentence summing up what this film's about. And I was like, oh my gosh, how do I do that? We brought a real writer in to help us out initially, and he came up with the line, "You can't kill something good," and I like that. We've been sticking with that, but actually, it's been the last couple weeks that I've been thinking about it, and what this film's doing, in my opinion, it's honoring the values of a past generation that are not gone, but they're just disappearing. And
Mound used to have, it was at one point, it was the place that people would come out to for resorts. It was a resort town. So people who lived in Mound considered the real people and the resort people.
Yep.
But the resort, the cabins and whatnot turned into lower income homes that people moved into that needed to be that needed help in making sure that it was going to be able to sustain the winter months and whatnot, that whole winterization. Sometimes it happened, sometimes it didn't. Unfortunately, those are the houses that got torn down.
Right.
Those are the houses that the larger homes that wanted to be on Lake Minnetonka eventually took over. And so the blue-collar sensibilities and the community feel of the blue-collar and the Tonka style of life changed. And became, part of Lake Minnetonka and part of the Minnetonka crowd that so often, symbolized most of the lake except for Mound. And Spring Park, of course, where also the Tonka Toys were.
And we talked to ex-employees of the Tonka company that had, met their husbands there. They worked their whole lives at this company because it was such a great company and they treated their employees so well. And, part of this film is we're going to talk to experts. The one expert we have in the can, his name's Barry Kudrowitz, and he is a professor of toy design at the U of M.
I did not know that there was a professor of toy design. That is good to know.
There was actually a lot of toys that were invented here in the Twin Cities, like Twister, Nerf,
I did not know that.
And so we learned a lot from him. And
we're kind of like Santa's, North Pole.
Absolutely. If you see our trailer, one of the guys that worked at Tonka says it was kind of like Santa's elves and putting the toys together. It's awesome. But anyways, the other experts we're going to be talking to, there's a professor at MIT, and she's the expert, one of the leading experts of manufacturing in America and the history of it and stuff. Because, the story of taking manufacturing and taking it overseas it happened to a lot of different companies.
I believe it first went down to Texas and then to Mexico for Tonka.
It was Mexico, and then it went to China.
Oh, okay.
And what they did was they built the headquarters in Texas across the border from Mexico where their manufacturing was. So The other experts we're going to talk to, there is a museum of play in Rochester, New York.
I did not know that either.
And they
That
have
is
a
great.
Tonka exhibit.
Do they?
And they're experts on childhood development, and so they can talk to those things that I talked about earlier.
Sure.
And then I'm looking for a medical expert that can really talk about getting in the dirt and keeping, that keeps kids healthy and stuff.
Sure.
So it's a journey that we've started on, but there's so many more pieces of story that
The landscape that you want to cover.
Yep.
Literally
And
with the
yeah.
environment.
I'm looking for someone who drives one of those giant dump trucks on the Iron Range that played with Tonka trucks to interview. I've been down a couple roads trying to find someone that will talk to me, but I haven't found that person yet. I want to find a female that drives large equipment that
Was influenced.
So
Her dream
if
became
any
her
of any of your listeners know of anyone, we'd love to get a lead there.
So absolutely. The question I have that brings up this for me, you're not quite done with your...
No. We've been working on this for almost 4 years now. This isn't something that we do for a living. We have other jobs. We have been moving things forward slowly. It's like pushing a rock up a hill and then putting a stick in there. We're trying to raise money to finish this, and we want to use real people. AI is coming, and I prepared my partner about 6 months ago. I'm like, there's going to be a documentary on Tonka coming out, and it's going to be AI, and it's already out there, and it doesn't have human stories.
No.
And
AI can be wrong.
It's very wrong. There's a lot of things wrong with it. But this is a human story thing, and we felt like, the founders of the Tonka company, the people that work there, they wouldn't be into AI on this. So we're going to pay real people to put this all together. We're going to bring a real writer in because we're not writers. He's a director. I'm a producer. And it's a huge story to wrangle. It could go so many different ways. We need assistant editors to wrangle some of the 40 hours of footage we have already. And then we need finishing. And so far, we've had so many people donate their time and talents to this. It's just been incredible. One is Wise Friends Studio, which is Patrick's, my partner's studio, and his partner, Dan Ripple. They have cameras, audio equipment, lights, a grip truck. We've done like 19 shoot days already.
Amazing.
And then Pixel Farm is another local company that has been donating their time to make this happen, and they're just wonderful, talented people here in town. And so it's going to be a local story told locally, made in the USA, just the way those Tonka trucks were, and using no AI.
Well, that's important. It's important that it has an authenticity, and that it's from the Tonka, for the Tonka, by the Tonka, in Lake Minnetonka.
Exactly.
And has there been? We have 1 minute.
Okay.
No, but it's okay. Before we need to go to commercial, and then our next segment after that. In looking at our next segment, I want to talk about some of the actual filming that you did, and what that took, and what the stories were that impacted you. Is there one particular one that you're going to be wanting to share with us in our next segment?
Ron Pauly. Okay. We've done 3 interviews with him. He's the center of this story.
That sounds good. We'll start with Ron, but I'm guessing that there's going to be some more that you'll want to share with us about some of their important stories. And you're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, on Connections Radio Show. And we are exploring The Mighty Tonka, a documentary in the making. And we have David Howell with us, and he is a filmmaker and storyteller.
And it's the Mighty Tonka Company movie.
There we go. There's the full title. And we'll be right back. We'll be right back.
Thank you.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, talking about ideas that matter. And I'm glad you have joined the conversation. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and we have today with us a person who has been working on a passion project and has encouraged others to join him, as well as you. There's some reach out and call outs for things that, if you're interested to be part of this, there are ways that you can be. David Howell is a local filmmaker and a storyteller, and he is in the midst of making the Mighty Tonka Company movie. And you can take a look at his website, which is themightytonkamovie.com. And David, we're so glad you're joining us today.
Thank you so much. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, it's great to hear the stories. Of course, I guess I failed to mention my mother's family comes from the Mound area, and her cousin, my uncle, I considered him more my uncle, was one of the mayors back during that time that the Tonka Toys were being made, and it was always magical. I didn't grow up in Mound, but I came to Mound every year, sometimes twice a year, to see the greater family, and Tonka was always at the heart of it. You know, there was always something going. You could have tours going through the Tonka toy factory, and you'd get a little Tonka toy at the end of your tour. And it was a magical place. And like we talked in the first segment, it almost felt like, you know, Santa's elves were making those wonderful trucks. And they were an instigation for the imagination. You could go all kinds of places.
Absolutely.
And you had many stories that you collected that warmed your heart and then became the heart of the documentary that you're creating. So tell us a little bit about that.
So Ron Pauly was the inspiration. If I had not met Ron Pauly, I would not be here right now. I don't know what I'd be doing.
Some mischief, I'm sure.
He really moved me. And it was his dedication to building toys and making them affordable and yet last a long time. And when I first met him, the day I met him, he took out one of the toys that I played which was the Mighty front loader. It's got the big scoop on the front.
Mm-hmm. It was
it's
yellow.
Got a handle. Yeah.
It was red and yellow, as I recall.
Yep.
Oh, black and yellow, sorry.
Black and yellow.
Yep.
And he designed that toy. And I played with it. I remember throwing it across the basement at each other. We played this game called War, and it wouldn't break. Yeah. And it was so fun to play with because it moved in the middle. You know, it pivoted. You could, use the handle to make it scoop. You didn't have to touch the scoop. I mean, you could scoop dirt. It worked. Yes. It just worked. And it was because of him and how he designed it. And, he told me that, the first thing he would do with a prototype is he would take it out into the garden and play with it hard until it broke. And then he would reinforce the places that broke before they went to production. And I don't know if you remember, but there was a TV commercial where there was an elephant standing on one of those dump trucks.
I hadn't thought about that, but yes, that was back in the 60s.
And he showed me a picture of him kneeling on one of those dump trucks. And he was in his lab coat, and I'm like, this guy's making these things. And so the other thing he did when I first met him is he showed me the places that he reinforced on the truck. Also, he showed me where it was embossed. The metal was embossed. He said, this metal is the same metal that they made real trucks out of.
Wow.
And I thought the embossing on these trucks were like decorative. And he's like, no, when you emboss metal, it strengthens it. And then he showed me the front lip of the scoop on the truck, and it was turned over. And he's like, when you fold over metal like that, it makes it stronger. And he was doing everything he could to make these trucks last a long time and be affordable. Because when he was young, he got one truck, and that was it. And he took care of that truck because he loves trucks. And sometimes I kind of thought, I think he's making these trucks for himself.
He probably was. But he knew that if he was making it for himself, it was going to be something that others would like.
Exactly.
Satisfying not just a prototype, but satisfying that inner child.
Other stories, other employees had told me that there were times, he's a designer. He's supposed to be off in the design studio. He would go onto the line, and I guess a couple times he'd see something on one of the trucks that he designed that he didn't like the way it was coming off the line. He stopped the production line several
And they
times.
let him do that.
Well, no, he's not supposed to do that. But
Okay.
that speaks to the passion of this guy.
No, that doesn't work.
Yes. Even get back in there and keep designing around. But it really is in his heart what he put into these trucks. And because of that, they went around the world and they made kids happy, and they made kids develop into awesome human beings.
You mentioned in the first segment that you've gone into rooms where people have had, their toy collection.
The collectors that I've met.
Yes.
Oh my gosh. I think we've done about 20 different interviews with collectors. A couple years ago, the collectors organized a weekend where they all came into town, and they met with Ron and a couple other of the employees to kind of thank them for what they did.
Did they bring their favorite Tonka toy?
Some did. Some brought full-size cars that were models of the toys that
fun.
we've met a fireman who played with fire trucks as a kid.
Wow.
And that inspired him to be a
Sure.
fireman. And then one of the people we've met, his name's Micah, and he lives out in South Dakota. He is not only one of the leading collectors, he's written books on the toys, but he's also a historian on the company itself. And he has documents from the company that he's curating this. He is so in love with Tonka. It's just amazing to see this kind of passion in people.
And with what he brought, that history and that passion, were some things that he shared moving you, or you recognized this was important as part of the documentary?
Yes, absolutely. He's going to be like our final word when we talk about the Tonka company and what happened to it, because I've heard so many different stories and stuff. Mm-hmm. He's going to be the final word on that for us. He's kind of our historical guidepost, if I could.
It seems to me that you were inspired initially by Mr. Pauly's passion for making trucks. But then at some point it became a fascination with the company.
Yes. To me, like, the real heart of this story is American manufacturing and what happened to American companies. At one point when we were interviewing him, he said, it seemed like the new people that came in and took over the company were more concerned with the bottom line than they were with the company. And if you think about Wall Street, the movie Wall Street, and how it talks about these corporate raiders that would come in and buy up a company and sell it off as pieces without any concern for the people working at the company. And that, to me, is really the message and how that happened to this company in particular and the people that it happened to, and what it did to Mound, Minnesota, what it did for Mound, Minnesota, and then what it did to Mound, Minnesota when it left.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, Mound still has those buildings. They're there. They're broken up into various rental for various things that, whether it's storage of boats or manufacturing or auto parts. But those of us that remember driving by that on Shoreline Drive, there's a little bit of a heartbreak, because there was something that's still missing, and it's been at least 30 years, isn't it?
But the amazing thing is all of the artifacts that have come out of that building are still out there, and they're still being played with by kids, and they're being collected by collectors. When I started this project, I wanted to get a Mighty Dump, the big yellow one,
Yes.
and I wanted to get a Mighty front end loader because that's what Ron designed. And I'm sure my mother sold them at a garage sale for $1.50 or something.
My mom gave them away. My brother has not. I mean, rest in peace, Mom, but he still didn't forgive you for taking those toys away.
I didn't need one that was perfect, in the box still, because the collectors love them in the box,
Sure.
If it had some rust and some dents, that's fine. I wanted to have the stickers on them still, and I paid about $80 a piece on eBay for these things.
That's still not a bad price. I have heard of them going for much more.
Oh, yeah.
So you still got a good deal.
And so the collectors, the passion that was inspired by Ron and the people that put these together and designed them, they're crazy. They're crazy in a great way. They just love these trucks. And I also want to interview a psychologist who will talk about the collectors and, it's the thrill of the chase for them. Like this one collector, I think he collects the mid 50s to the mid 60s because that's the classic. And he's got every single toy in every color that they make except 3.
Oh, and he's in search of.
And if he finds
it's a treasure hunt.
Oh, it is.
Yeah.
And if he finds one of those 3, his brain just lights up, and it's really kind of fun. And they go to the toy shows and they collect or they trade, I've got a couple of these, I can give you one of these for that. And so when we finish this, and we're hoping to do this within a year, because this will premiere at the Northland Toy Show. Oh. So every year in the spring, the collectors get together at the state fairgrounds and have their big toy show. That is when we are going to premiere this, because it's for those guys. And we're probably going to just take this to YouTube and make it free with ads to see on YouTube. I've talked to many people who've, done documentaries and how they've distributed them, and I don't want to put it behind a paywall. This is a story that needs to get out.
It kind of reminds me of when you were talking about if there was a dent or a problem with the toy that they would just, fix it for free. You were embodying that by giving it for free.
I never even thought about that.
Yeah.
I love the...
That was the company way. How do you get what is needed and important back to the community? And this is our story that you're helping to bring back. And the
original Tonka company gave back to the community. They created a place for people to work and earn a good living, and they treated their employees right. And that's kind of the ethos that we're kind of following for this film.
And when you think about, as you mentioned in the first segment, where children are today, I go by sometimes homes and I look for, do they have a play set out there? I mean, do they have anything swing set? We grew up with lots of, things to play with outside, and I don't see it. It's like they've all migrated indoors.
Yes.
Now you can still, as you talked about, play with a truck indoors, sometimes throwing it across the room. But the fun of the truck was because it was so rugged, you could take it outside and you could create these vast landscapes of what you wanted to create with your Tonka toy. There's something about the loss of the excitement of going outside. You don't see kids riding their bikes until the street lights come on. That would be the time that we would be going home. Is you could be out doing whatever you want, but just get home for dinner when the street lights come on. There's a nostalgia.
Oh yeah.
Of a time when we think of Tonka trucks. But maybe there's also a call to action in thinking about what could be in the future and how to bring back some of that as well.
Absolutely. One of the collectors we interviewed, his name was Kurt. He embodied that. He was like, he was talking about, feeling the grass under my feet, and it would just take him back. And he had a line that I used in the trailer. We've got 40 hours of footage, and there was not enough time to put enough of his stuff in the trailer. Probably going to open the film with this stuff, but he had a line, you can imagine who you want to be, and you can take your little sister and put her in the truck and push her down the hill. It's like so innocent yet
Devilish.
It just really hit me. And we had several versions of the trailer, and it was too long, so we had to take it out. And at the very end, I'm like, that's got to go in there.
And your family, were you all Tonka toy?
Everybody. Even my sister played with them. My brother, definitely. We fought over them, I'm sure, at points. We literally threw them at each other, but that was more for fun. That was a game called War.
Yeah.
Everybody in the neighborhood had them, and I just never thought about how a toy could, inspire your development, inspire a career. And that's what these toys did.
And you've got a lot of footage. You've got more footage that you want to do.
Yes.
And you've got folks that you want to have help bring it together.
Yes.
And you're seeing this over the year.
Yeah. The thing about it is it's so big that you need to get somebody that you can pay to put the rest of their life on hold. Right. To first, we need to figure out exactly how this story goes, where it fits together. We started with an outline, and then the outline changed, and it's changed again. And by the time we end up putting this story together, it's going to change again, I'm sure.
My guess is when you're interviewing people, new themes come up for you.
Absolutely.
And when you see that theme and goes, oh, well, that relates to something someone said there, that seems like a strong through line.
Yeah, exactly. And to bring in an objective writer is really important on this. But it's such a big thing that you need to put your regular work away, and I need to pay people to actually sit down, because it's going to take months to edit this. It's going to take several months to do all of the assistant editing, to cut all these interviews down, then to transcribe everything, and that will go to the writer next, and then the writer will do a paper cut, and then we will do we'll see what that paper cut looks like on film, and then we'll change it again, and then we've got to finish it and put music to it, and there's not going to be any AI music. This is going to be
the real deal.
Real deal. So lots to do.
When your friend first approached you and said, I'd like to do something longer, I want to do a film, and you said, well, let's do a documentary. Did you have in your head that this might take 5 to 10 years?
Well, there was a point in these last 5 years where I moved back to Michigan to be with my mom for about 1.5 years, and my partner had a child, bought a house, and moved his studio. So I knew it was going to be probably 3 to 4 years. I did another documentary, and it took 3 years, and it was shorter. But this is looking like it's going to be like a 7-year project. We're hoping to get enough money to get everybody on this and get it done by next spring.
Okay.
To
get her done.
Premiere it the weekend. All the toy collectors are in town. If not, definitely by the next spring, we're going to do it. But
tell you
it's got to release in the spring when all the toy collectors are in town.
All right. We'll hold you to it. With that, though, in our next segment, I'd like to talk about what are you looking to do for your fundraising, and how can folks in our audience support you in that effort? So fundraising, how you're promoting it, what will that look like? So stay tuned, stay with us to hear more about the Mighty Tonka Company. And give me the website one more time.
TheMightyTonkaMovie.com.
And we'll be right back. Thanks for being our audience on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota, Connections Radio Show.
Thanks.
Welcome back to Connections Radio Show, where we talk about ideas that matter and we talk about connections. I'm Laurie Fitz, your host, and we have had an engaging conversation with David Howell, who is a local filmmaker, a storyteller, and he is in the process of creating the Mighty Tonka Company movie. And the website is themightytonkamovie.com. And what we want to talk about is how do we engage our local audience to support and be part of this?
Well, we have the website, themightytonkacompanymovie.com. We have a link to the GoFundMe page. And then we're going to have, we have our Facebook page, Instagram, TikTok. We will be teasing pieces of the film.
Now, if you're a giver, if you go to the GoFundMe page, will there be opportunities to be kept posted on what's happening with the film?
Absolutely. And one of the interesting things is, I was in advertising for about 30 years, and one of my favorite things was mentoring young people. And we have several young people who have already contributed to some of the pre-editing for this film. And there are other young people that are interested in being interns as well. So what we're going to be doing is bringing young people along in our journey. And you can also follow along on our website and our Facebook page. And, as far as who is going to be doing what, I'm talking to several writers, several editors. It's really going to come down to who's available when we do get the money and the time to do this.
What I think is fun about this is that you're not coming to us with a finished product and going, oh, and this film is going to go up on such and such. Well, you have the date of the film going up, but it's not something that's already in the can. You're still in process. And
Right.
I think that gives folks who want to give an opportunity to kind of be able to join you on the journey.
Well, part of the journey is going to be going on our Facebook page and telling your story.
Oh, yes.
I want to hear we want to hear your stories because it's about the stories. There's so many stories that come along with these toys. These toys have had several lives already, several generations have played with these toys. I want to, on the website is a picture of me in my footy pajamas with my Tonka toy on Christmas morning. And so many people have those photos. We want to see them. We want to include them. We want to include your stories in this film. It's amazing how many stories are out there.
So giving of your story as well as giving financial support would be great ways to walk with you on the journey,
Absolutely.
be part of the journey, be included in the journey, and then be invited to when the documentary opens up. And tell me again where you're planning to have this.
So I haven't booked it yet, but the Riverview Theater has hosted several of my premieres in the past, and they're just wonderful people. It's a wonderful theater in South Minneapolis. And so the intention is to book it all weekend because I think we can get that many people with the toy show in town, and then all of the ex-employees of the Tonka company that are still here with us, and maybe even their families and the people that it meant. And what we'd like to do is to get a kiddie pool, fill it up with sand, and put it out front, and put the trucks in there, and you can play with the trucks while you're waiting to get in.
What a great idea.
And get the kids in there.
So as folks are listening and hearing about the journey and the upcoming film, and you're also planning to have this on YouTube.
Yes, yes. The distribution of this film is going to be for free with ads on YouTube, because this isn't a money-making journey for us. This is a get this story out because it's a great story. It touches people's hearts. I think it honors the values of a past generation that are not gone, but we're forgetting about them and stuff.
When an audience member walks out of seeing the film perhaps at the opening or watching it on YouTube, is there something that you're thinking about now that you'd like them to hold in their heart about it?
I would like them to know about a man named Ron Pauly who did all the right things for all the right reasons, and he made a difference in the world. And he's just a guy who wanted to make toys.
And what a big heart.
Yes, exactly.
And he's still, you were mentioning he's like for 20 years just sort of been at the West Tonka Historical Society and sharing that story with whoever comes in the door.
Absolutely.
When you've gone out to Mound and you've had a chance to see it now, and you're hearing all these stories about what it was, how does it strike you? What do you feel when you go into the Mound the Spring Park Mound area?
You know, the first thing that comes to mind is change is the only constant in our world. And you know, even though, you know, we hold on to these things, but there's the new generation, and it's about how do we embrace that, the new generation, and how do we bring the things that were special to us to the next generation and not let those good things get forgotten.
And how do you think that can happen?
By sharing our stories, connections, just like your radio show. It's connections. And if you watch our trailer,
and we can find that on the website.
That's on the website. That's exactly how we end the trailer. Is it's about the stories. It's about the stories and passing them on to the next generation.
Now, your brother is who invited you out initially.
Yes, it was my mother who needed something to do every day, and I was like, okay, we'll go to this museum, whatever.
How does your brother feel about all of this? Because he was also, you know, your friend in war in the basement with your toys. How does he feel about it all?
He is over the moon about what I'm doing, because he met this guy. He understands the connection with Tonka Toys, and my whole family and our families have been really supportive of us in this. We have, to date, we've spent about 1,200 hours apiece on this project. And, you know, we still have shooting to do, and we still have to edit
And you're
this.
not done yet.
Yes. So.
But wait, there's more.
Exactly. And, you know, we just have to give it up to our families who've supported us in this endeavor because, you know, really the biggest asset we have as human beings is time. And we've spent a lot of time on this, and we've had so much support because people understand.
With that, I want to make sure that our audience knows again your website, themightytonkamovie.com. You also have a Facebook, and the Facebook is it called the Mighty Tonka Company, or is it
The Mighty Tonka Movie?
Mighty Tonka Movie is the Facebook. When you go to that Facebook, share your story, and if you have a picture, share the pictures. Who knows? It might become part of the documentary. If this has, you know, meant something to you to think about the Tonka Toys, think about supporting having this movie be able to be made by next spring, a year from spring.
Yes.
What's 27 or 28?
27.
All right.
28 if we
have to. All right. Well, we'll be looking for the Mighty Tonka Company movie coming out soon. And I want to come to your opening. So you make sure you send me an invitation, and I will also promote it on our show.
I have a front row seat reserved for you.
Thank you. Thank you. And thank you all for being part of our Connections conversation and dreaming with us a little bit about the days of the Tonka Toys. And think about that for the next generation as well. Have a good week.